Have you ever looked at another photographer's work and thought, I could never be that good? Or maybe you've wondered how on earth you're charging clients when you secretly feel like you're just winging it. If so, welcome to the club. You're not alone. Imposter syndrome is that sneaky voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough. And guess what? It visits all of us, no matter how successful we seem. But that uncomfortable feeling you're carrying, it might just be your greatest superpower. So let's talk about how to flip the script on imposter syndrome and turn self-doubt into powerful business growth. Welcome to Stoked, the podcast that helps adventure elopement photographers hit six figures and beyond in their businesses without hustling on social media. I'm your host, Megan McPhail, a former burnt-out emergency veterinarian that quit my hard-earned career to become an elopement photographer. Now I'm living a life I absolutely love, full of travel, adventure, and financial abundance, and I am hell-bent on helping you do the same. Are you ready to start booking out your calendar with dream couples in breathtaking locations and feeling genuinely stoked about your elopement photography business, life, and bank account? Then let's dive into this week's episode. Hey, it's your host, Megan McPhail.
And your co-host, Todd Reedy.
And today is our 99th episode, which is freaking crazy.
So wild.
Yeah, and we're talking about imposter syndrome today, and we actually have talked about this before. What episode was that?
It was episode 8 back in April of 2023.
That's crazy. And now we're in January 2025. Wild. But back then I was kind of talking generally to entrepreneurs and small business owners. And today I'm going to speak directly to you guys, the elopement photographers and wannabe elopement photographers, because imposter syndrome has been talked about a lot in Stoked Academy and the Elopement Photographer Mastermind lately. So I wanted to do a podcast episode to explain why it feels so awful, but why it's a superpower. So imposter syndrome basically makes you doubt your abilities or feel unworthy of your achievements. And it's especially prevalent in creative fields like photography, where you're comparing yourself to everybody else. You're scrolling Instagram, the app I have a love-hate relationship with, and you're looking at people who are successful, maybe even people who are years ahead of you, and thinking like, I could never do this. Or like, who am I to charge more money? Or feeling like you're not good enough for what you want to do. So really, imposter syndrome starts rearing its ugly head as you kind of learn more and more about the industry. So as you learn more and more about elopements and start following more elopement photographers, you'll also learn how much you don't know about the field. And that's when you start really feeling like you're not good enough or you're a fraud and stuff like that. But I will tell you that that really only happens kind of when you've already learned quite a bit. And this is why I try to reframe imposter syndrome as a superpower. It fuels your growth, because as you're learning more about something that you want to do, like you want to be the next cool elopement photographer with your bags packed, ready to go. You got your hiking boots, you've got your passport ready, you want to jet set to all these places and you're like, yeah, I can do it. But then as you get more into it, you learn that, oh man, this is actually going to take more work than I thought. This is going to be harder than I thought. I feel less prepared than I did originally. That's totally normal, because the more you learn, the more you realize that you don't know things. And it's a really uncomfortable place to be, but it fuels growth. This discomfort that you're feeling, you don't want to stay in it, right? Like you don't like it. You want to better yourself. So it really fuels learning. It fuels seeking out new skills. It fuels trying new things. It fuels leaning into resources. So it's almost like a compass pointing at the things that you need to work on. And that is an uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah, I like how you're kind of reframing that. And I don't think I've ever thought of it that way before, because maybe when we start things, we think there's going to be just this linear growth. Like you're just going to continue to get better. But yeah, like there are stages where you may like plateau and need some other like motivation to get better. And I think kind of falling into this imposter syndrome is like a perfect opportunity for you to like kickstart that next level of growth.
It shows that you care too, because people who don't care, they don't feel imposter syndrome. They're like, man, my photography sucks, but I'm going to charge $1 million for it. And I don't care because I'm just trying to rip people off and make money. Right? Like true frauds don't care. People who feel imposter syndrome, they care. They care about the quality of their work. They care about the experience that they're bringing to clients. They care about, that people are getting value from the investment that they make into them as photographers. So it also shows that you care about what you're doing, which is good. Like those things are good. Wanting to learn more and caring about your business and your art and the experience you give your clients, that's all really great stuff to feel.
Yeah. And I'm thinking that if you're experiencing imposter syndrome, then you're also like not a beginner anymore. You've now surpassed that like initial stage of being a new elopement photographer. And so like now you're like looking for the next thing. And so yeah, you're no longer a beginner. You're like wanting to become an intermediate or a expert. So yeah, that's probably a good thing to like maybe flip the script on where you see yourself in the space.
Yeah. Comparison is really the biggest thing that brings about imposter syndrome, right? And like I get it too, especially with like Instagram where you get ads and stuff. Like I will Google one thing and then all of a sudden I'm getting ads for all these people who built businesses super quick and I haven't reached those financial milestones as quickly. And I'm like, I suck. So you have to reframe those things. And you can't compare your chapter 3 to somebody's chapter 30. You're still in the process of going through your own chapters. So it doesn't mean that you're not going to get there eventually. And not that you're going to get to perfection, because I hate perfection. That's another whole thing we could do another podcast about, which we have done in the past, just not specifically for elopement photographers. But yeah, like you're going to put the reps in, you're going to learn, you're probably going to make some mistakes. You're going to have to encounter new problems that you need to troubleshoot and stuff like that. But that's all part of growth. You can't skip those steps. You can't jump from chapter 3 to chapter 30. You've got to go through each individual chapter. And it's uncomfortable to learn new skills. And that's where a lot of this comes from as well. So I want everybody to reframe this idea that imposter syndrome is a weakness, because it means that you care about improving, you care about the value you bring to your clients. And it just means that you need to get more reps in until you feel more like an expert and an authority. And that could take years for photographers. But anybody who is super successful has gone through all this discomfort and has learned and has improved. So one of the things that I really want to recommend for people is that when they are feeling imposter syndrome, one, put your blinders on and stop looking at other people's stuff and stop comparing yourself to others, because you're just on a different timeline than them. And I want you to go out and take action. Taking action is almost always the solution to all of these thoughts we have in our head that are negative. And one of the things that I feel like people who are elopement photographers or want to be elopement photographers struggle with is if you're new and somebody wants to book you for an elopement, a lot of people don't know how to plan an elopement or location scout and stuff like that. So I hear that a lot where it's like, I want to book elopements. I want to book all day elopements. I want to charge more, but I don't know what the F I'm doing when it comes to planning and talking with my couples and stuff like that. And that's a whole skill set, right? Elopement planning that also took me years to figure out and streamline and all that stuff. But planning styled shoots is a great way to build confidence in your elopement planning skills and like being able to handle logistics and take a couple out and make sure they're having a good time and see how long things take as far as timelines go and like where to park and how to do this and that and how to communicate with the couple, stuff like that. So I really encourage people to do styled shoots if they're feeling some of this imposter syndrome, because not only will it give you some elopement planning experience, but it will also build your portfolio and help you attract your ideal clients and stuff like that. Hey photographer, do you dream of having a successful elopement photography business but don't know where to start? Imagine having the confidence to double or triple your prices, booking your calendar solid with dream couples and breathtaking locations, and feeling genuinely stoked about your business, your life, and your bank account? Then I'd like to introduce you to Stoked Academy, the go-to membership community for adventure elopement photographers that are ready to scale their businesses to 6 figures and beyond, all without hustling on social media. In Stoked Academy, you'll get access to everything you need to build a 6-figure business, like mastering marketing strategies, pricing for profit, elopement planning, worksheets, templates, spreadsheets, and so much more. Plus, you'll connect with a positive, supportive community of elopement photographers who are as passionate as you are. And the best part? It's insanely affordable, like less than the cost of a new memory card for your camera. Plus, as a member, you'll get to join me for a monthly group coaching call where we dive deep into strategies that will take your business to the next level. If this sounds awesome, then head over to stokedacademy.com to learn more about the membership and join us. I can't wait to see you in there. I also have my elopement planning toolkit included in Stoked Academy and the Elopement Photographer Mastermind. So I always assure people who join my programs, like, go out there, book your elopements, and don't worry about the planning part because I walk you through it in my programs. Another thing to do is to focus on progress over perfection. I think a lot of people who feel imposter syndrome feel pressure to be perfect with everything that they put out there, and perfection kills businesses. It makes it so everything takes too long. You're second guessing yourself. You're not going to push publish on that blog post. You're not going to put yourself out there. You're not going to update your website. Perfectionism really kills action, and action is the whole way to improve this uncomfortable feeling of imposter syndrome. So you have to focus on progress, focus on baby steps, screw perfection, put your B or C grade work out there, and celebrate any small wins that you come across, even if it's just like, I posted my work on my website, something simple. And then the other thing that can help you when it comes to imposter syndrome is surrounding yourself with support. That's another thing that I say all the time when it comes to feeling these uncomfortable feelings as you are building a business, is having a group of people who can support you and kind of knock you out of these feelings and be like, what are you talking about? You're awesome, but you're still learning, and that's uncomfortable. But you are going to continue learning because of that uncomfortable feeling, and you're going to continue getting better, and you're going to continue putting your reps in, and it's all going to work out. And having these people in your corner that can help you with that, whether it's one of my programs or some local photographers that you have as friends or something like that, having a support network to help you push past these feelings is super important. And on the other side of imposter syndrome, when you do finally start feeling super confident and start feeling like more of an authority and an expert, that's the best feeling. That's what you get to look forward to. On the other side of this feeling that you're a fraud, that you're not good enough, all these negative things that you're telling yourself, on the other side of this, you're going to be a confident elopement photographer and you're going to feel good. And I feel that way. Like, I feel very confident in my skills as an elopement photographer, but I've also shot over 200 elopements. So again, it comes with putting in your reps and learning all of the different skills, not just photography, but elopement planning, how to pivot, how to communicate with your couples to bring the best day ever, how to pose. Like, there's a lot of skills that you are learning as you're building this business, and you weren't born an expert at any of them. So you got to go through this uncomfortable period, and you got to embrace it, and you got to realize that it just means you are motivated to learn more and do more and be better. And that's awesome.
Well, and you're talking a lot about the art and like the actual act of photography, but you have to also like think about, as a listener, you may be a phenomenal photographer. You may be able to plan an awesome day and implement an elopement perfectly. But if you can't market, or if you can't get people to your website, or if you can't attract your clients, that's also a huge gap that you may be feeling imposter-ish. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Like an imposter.
Yeah.
Because you're not able to do like the art because you're not getting the clients. So like there's multi-facets of, this growth as an elopement photographer on the photography side, on the business side, how it all goes together. So I think there's going to be several stages of imposter syndrome. It won't just be like a one-time thing that you like push through. You may have that imposter syndrome in different aspects of building and creating this business.
Yeah, that is such a good point. It's something that is a journey and not a destination. So yeah, I mean, I feel imposter syndrome about different parts of my business all the time. Maybe not the photography part, but yeah, for instance, we lost a lot of our SEO rankings after somebody reported our business page for Hazel and Lace. And then we ended up losing like 70 Google reviews, and that does affect your SEO rankings. And so there's a part of me that feels like an imposter because I'm not fixing all of that, but I'm teaching people all about SEO. And it's like, I know how to get on the first page, but like some of our rankings have dropped, and it's like, it's no fault of my own, but I still kind of feel like a fraud about it, that our website isn't doing as great as some of my students' websites are.
Yeah. And it's like a continuously evolving industry, right? So like a couple years ago when TikTok came out, we were really good at Instagram and we were really good at Google and all the different things. But now TikTok is like a big avenue to get clients, and like we're old and we don't know how to do TikTok, or we don't want to learn how to do it. So like it's a continuing evolution of what we need to learn and what we need to get better at. So like it's never just like I'm going to push through it this one time and I'll never get imposter syndrome again. I'm an expert. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, industries are always changing. That's a really good point too. So if you are feeling these imposter syndrome feelings, again, I want you to take action, because actions are what's going to help you learn and get the reps in and get better at the skill sets that you weren't born with, like marketing, like social media, like blogging, like your website, like planning, like sales calls. All of those things are skills that you have to improve over time, and it's going to be uncomfortable to do all those things. And then also lean on your network for support. Lean on people who know you're awesome. And I would say that, like, kind of going back to what you mentioned too, like you might be an awesome photographer, but you aren't good at marketing, or you're an awesome wedding photographer, but you are now wanting to start over as an elopement photographer. And like, I see that all the time where people are great photographers, but that alone does not create a successful business. You have to be good at all the business stuff too. And so you can be a great photographer and not know how to market yourself and have to go through all the discomfort of learning those skills too. So you can look and you can see all the beautiful photos from other people, and you can want that for yourself, but it's not just the pretty photos that make a business. It's all the skills, many, many skills required. And as soon as you get good at one, some other skill is going to pop up that you suck at and you got to work on, like money management or just so much stuff. There's a lot. And so it is really uncomfortable growing your business. And I see people in my programs all the time where they procrastinate taking action and doing the work that is going to provide them with success. But sometimes there are these mindset shifts you have to go through, and you have to get through some of these uncomfortable feelings, and learning how to do that is part of building your business. So just to reassure you guys, imposter syndrome is a natural feeling, but it's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of your desire to grow and be better. And you can use that as motivation to take action and get the reps in and to improve your skills as a business owner and as an elopement photographer. And the discomfort is temporary. It's going to go away as you get better at things, but it's a superpower. If you didn't have this feeling of imposter syndrome, you wouldn't care. You wouldn't care about getting better, and you wouldn't care about your clients and what they're experiencing with you. And the opposite of imposter syndrome just sounds awful. So embrace it, work through it, take action, lean on a group of people that you can lean on, and keep working, keep going. And yeah, next episode is our 100th episode, which is crazy. And it's going to be a special one. So make sure you tune in next week for our 100th episode.
Woo!
Talk to you later. Bye. thanks so much for joining us on this week's episode of Stoked. If you enjoyed the show and you'd like to help support the podcast, please subscribe, leave a review, and tell a friend. If you're looking for more inspiring elopement photography content, check us out on Instagram at Megan McPhail. And if you'd like to hear more about my business coaching and how I can personally help you hit six figures as an elopement photographer, then check out my website at www.meganmcphail.com.